Hello, so today I'll be going over the social problem presentation, and the issue that I chose to approach was the media and body image. Let's get started. So, what is body image? Body image essentially is how someone views themselves in their own body and how they feel, as well as how they perceive themselves in aspects such as physique, size, and the level of attractiveness. Body image is really important on the physiological side because it contributes to things such as self-esteem and how confident you are. Media is really important because given how easily accessible it is to people, it really helps shape the standards of body image and what is considered beauty, what isn't. One great example is professional modeling, and we see this being promoted intensely in modern social media, which can lead to comparisons of body image with one another. I'll come on to that shortly on just how impactful this concept of comparison, right, really is. Um, so, evolution of how media portrayed body image over the years. Overall, the portrayal of beauty standards has definitely evolved over human history. We can go as far back as the Renaissance era, right, where women's beauty could be portrayed with paintings and even sculptures, which showed people the ideal physique for women. Overall, over time, the form of body image were conveyed in new ways. We eventually made our way into portraying body image through film, and now most popularly through social media applications and advertisements for luxury clothing, where models are often the benchmark of beauty for the consumer. And I think it's also really important to note the trend of body positivity as well in recent years, which has placed large emphasis on accepting people for many body types and basically challenging the beauty standards that are perhaps pushed by these models, social media, etc. So, media and its influences. I think one of the most important things that I would like to touch on is definitely the aspect of media and how it has impacted body image through people on individual level and collectively as well, right? More specifically, with the modern age, where much of the news that reaches us is digital and through the form of social media apps like Instagram, etc., as well as newsletters and definitely marketing campaigns as well for luxury clothing brands such as Chanel, Burberry, to name a few, who employ these models, right, with the ideal beauty standards and bodies, and they kind of push that onto the things that they're promoting. And I think these forms definitely do have an impact in terms of how we identify or how we don't identify with these people we see on our feed on a daily basis, right? Which can create sensations of comparison. However, I also think this digital form of media has positive influences too. For example, you see with gym influencers nowadays, they have been a huge part of body image portrayal throughout media in most recent years, and has led people to better themselves, including myself, and can create large positive communities, which I think is a positive and can be taken away from media and its impacts on us people, digitally, and changing changing our lives for the better. Now I think is a great time though to move on to the role that specifically sociology plays in terms of media and body image, right? I think perhaps the most important sociological theory that we learned in this class is conflict theory, which analyzes the struggles that society goes through due to imbalances in power, inequalities, all that. One of these struggles is most definitely media and body image, right? And I think we can see this with something like the biggest designer brand companies such as Chanel and other companies wanting, at the end of the day, they want to make money. So they use their influence and employ the best of the models that they can to share on the media the ideal body image, right? That like suits their whatever clothing they want to promote in the moment, all that. And I think it also even relates to those models and celebrities on their own, right? In general, who have the money to go out and get modifications such as surgery to change their appearance, which I think is important to know and can be very expensive and something the normal individual, can't really do, which I think also highlights the gulf in quality and power of people in society compared to the normal consumer who doesn't have that accessibility to resources such as surgery and all that. Um, However, while that may be a struggle, I think. I also want to highlight how structural functionalism has a role, and in that it can be perceived within the media to be, a whole system, right? A system that promotes positivity and structure to people's lives. Again, we can see this within the fitness and health scheme, right? Which can be seen as, in quotes, the functional side, you can say, where people with that outreach and following in media, such a large fan base, can use their platform to spread advice and tips to help others in that sense in the, fitness and health scheme. We can also see the dysfunctional side of the media as well, where perhaps, ideas aren't conveyed to people in the brightest light, and it can lead to negative results in the fitness and health scheme as well, such as, development of eating disorders, body dysmorphia, and all those which are very prevalent in, still ongoing issues in the health and fitness scheme from my personal experience. However, I also do think that socialization is a big contributor to this issue in that, the interactions we have, such as with family, friends, evidently media, even from a young age, can impact our perception of our own body, right? Family being one of those, the most pivotal because we spend our time mostly with them. So their ideas of body image and what's considered good, what's considered not, can transcend to us and can shape our perceptions of towards our own bodies. It goes the same for friends around us too, especially in friend groups where we can directly compare ourselves to the ones we call friends, and can lead to issues such as comparison and even competition with one another, and unhealthy competition and comparison at that. But at the same time, I think where there's issues, there's positives, and people in groups, friend groups like this, can push each other to become better versions of themselves, right? And strive for a better perception of their body through good practices such as exercising, good diet, all that. I think you combine that with media and influencers such as models, gym influencers, and we see that socialization can mold our perceptions of our, own body image overall. Specifically, I kind of want to dive into how body image and media can differentiate between men and women in the modern age, right? So, from my personal experience, I can see some common trends between the two genders that are popular nowadays, and can be seen as issues as well as positives. Specifically with women, I noticed that eating disorders are a lot more common, and that may be due to the typical ideal image tending to be more, you could say, lean and skinny among influencers and models nowadays. It is something I noticed a lot more prevalent within women than in men, which is really interesting. I also seen that with men there is more of not necessarily an obsession, but rather just more of a likelihood to romanticize going to the gym and focusing on getting stronger physically, right? I think that in general, that's definitely a positive to that. Not only men but women also share. But I note this because I noticed that although it's a positive, an issue that arises within the gym scene that I only really see from men is that the gym can come is that with the gym can come an increase in toxic masculinity and men ending up being still insecure with themselves despite um, through these practices. I think this can come from things such as not being able to like lift a certain like type of weight or a certain amount of weight, etc. I think this has led to some toxic gym culture sectors within the fitness scene, and misogynistic men who are well and truly insecure with themselves but use the gym as leverage, and evidently can lead to the harm of others around them, relationships with people around them as well as themselves due to inherent insecurity of themselves and not quite yet overcoming that. So I think that's really important to note. There's some slight trends between the two groups. So, moreover, I kind of want to expand on those ideas of negatives within body image portrayal and getting into the specifics of exactly how we can perceive the bad sides of body image and media through numbers, right? So, one article I kind of want to touch on is this one from Emotion Matters UK, where it shows a really interesting statistic that they've gathered, which is that over 88% of women reported that they indeed do compare themselves constantly with, images and people they see on social media and their feed on a daily basis. Moreover, over half of those, right, over half of those 88% report that the comparison is unfavorable, and they see it, it negatively impacts them. Although, and this is a UK report, but I think in the principle here is that we can see how people can heavily leverage what they see on social media, right, to create the perception of their own body, which we can see in this case leads to negative perceptions and comparison. And I think these negative perceptions can eventually lead to, eating disorders within that community of people who are heavily influenced by social media. And I also want to further explore some more numbers, which the American Psychology Association dives into with a study that analyzes the reduction of social media and how it can, or how it relates to changes in self-esteem and the body image in young adults. In an article called "Reducing Social Media Use Significantly Improves Body Image in Teens, Young Adults," um, excuse me, they basically conducted a study where they had a group, or control group, right, and a test group of young adults aged between, I think it was 17 and 25, and the test group being the group that basically reduced their screen time on social media in general. The average screen time before the study was, I believe, 6 to 8 hours, and this went on over a course of, I think, a couple weeks, and I think, or well, I think a month. But uh, at the end of the study, it went on to show that those who reduced their time on social media by over 50%, right? They improved their weight, body image, and generally felt better about themselves compared to the control group, who didn't see any significant changes, didn't change anything in their habits, which is an expected result. And I think this article, it does a great job at analyzing media and its effects on, body image, specifically with young adults aged 17 to 25, right, who are the primary age group for media consumption in our day and age. So, what solutions do we have though? Well, an article from Healthify.nz in the article, social media and body image, how to keep it positive. They kind of expand on, well, the previous slide where they propose solutions on an individual level, right, by doing things such as promoting positivity of your journey online. So, potentially becoming an influencer yourself, right, and trying to make that path for yourself, while also considering an alternative, which is even going completely offline and removing all social media from your life entirely, right? And as they say, embracing the offline world, which I think is definitely a solution to consider for, those who perhaps struggle with their amount of social media consumption. Um, Another article I want to touch on is by Center for Change called "Battling Our Bodies: Understanding and Overcoming Negative Body Images." They also, in this article, they propose solutions that are a lot more broader in general, emphasizing less on the effects of social media, but rather our own perceptions of our body image, and begin to have a more open mindset about our progress. Right. The article really emphasizes that the solution can be as simple as just not being so hard on ourselves and accepting that there's factors, right, such as genetics, to embrace that we have imperfections, and that growth isn't linear, which I think is a nice touch, and um, kind of approaches, the fact that there's uncontrollables in our lives as individuals and as a collective, and that we have to learn to accept that. And I think that's a nice touch. Um, and I think, in general, I think these proposed solutions, they offer great perspectives, right, as to how we can approach media and body image issues. We can see that we can improve ourselves by reducing things that are, most definitely in our control, such as the media we use, right? How much of it we choose to indulge in, and that's definitely a controllable. However, we also see that perhaps there are, factors that we simply aren't in control of, and it shows that we're imperfect, and that we are human, which is okay. And I think that's important to highlight. So overall, I think the issue of media and concept of its relation to body image has been a popular theme in the modern era, which where media consumption is at an all-time high, and in turn we see people suffer both on a physical and mental level. I think it is important to realize that this is what makes us human, right? We struggle together, but we also push forward together and improve together. And I think each of our experiences are unique. So by analyzing the problem, we can overcome it. And not only on the topic of media and our perception of our body image, but in other realms of life altogether. And that is my presentation. Thank you.